Ken Kingston here again to talk to you some more about your Customer Development Center. I tell you, one of the things I find, and this is huge, guys, if there's one thing you can maximize at the end of this training video, please listen. This one process. It's the disconnect. It's the disconnect between the CDC and the sales floor. Listen, guys, this is huge. I find this to be the number one cause. Hear me again. I find this to be the number one cause of failures in all CDCs, in all BDCs for that matter. And what is it? It's the disconnect. What happens? What happens when the appointment is set? What's the next thing? I'll tell you what happens usually. Tell me if this sounds familiar. The appointments are set. Maybe you do have a kiosk in your dealership, and if you don't, get one, okay? Where you say, welcome to ABC Motors. We welcome the following guests. And it lists all those names of all those people that are going to be coming in from your business development or your CDC center. If you don't have that, get one. I'll tell you why. It just shows professionalism, okay? It shows professionalism that you're prepared, that you're waiting for the customer when they arrive. Your dealership. Wow, what a great place to come do business. I know that I travel a lot. When I go into a hotel and they say, welcome Ken Kingstead, it makes me feel special, okay? Make your customers feel special too. But once the appointment is set, what do you do next? Listen, what do you do next? You get that call, you get that list, or that your CRM, if you will, tells you that, XYZ person's coming in today at 2:45. What do you do next, Mr. Manager? I tell you what you got to do is you got to make it an effort to confirm the appointment. Now, I will tell you this. In a lot of stores, the show rate's about 45-50%. If we can confirm that appointment by a manager in your dealership, the show rate's going to go up to about 50% or more. About 20% it's going to go up. So instead of getting a 45 to 50% show rate, it's going to go up to 60, maybe 65% as a show. That's huge. Does that affect the closing rate on the customer when they do arrive? Absolutely not. If anything, it's going to go up. Why? Because not only do they know the person that they spoke to on the telephone at the CDC center, but they also know who? You, Mr. Manager. I tell you what, though, on a list of 10 things to do, as a manager, I know you have to order cars, contracts, and transit. You got to manage all these different things, okay? Confirming appointments is probably number 13 on a scale 1 to 10, okay? We just never get to it. But I will tell you, just do some simple math. If you don't do a confirmation call, what ends up happening? Let's just say it is a 45% show rate. If you do confirm it, it's 65% show rate. Plus, they know who you are now. They spoke to you. Maybe there was a question mark in their mind still about showing up, and you just button it down, and they do come in. And guess what? When they do arrive, you treat them the way we talk about treating them a level 10. Do you think your odds of closing them will go up or down? It's going to go up for sure. One of the things I want to tell you, though, is this. The disconnect is simply this. The appointment is set, and we forget about it. The customer shows up, and there's not a big deal made about the customer. In the CDC, we really push the value that they're going to be treated like royalty, like they're going to be treated like gold. A special attention is going to be given to them. That's why we're setting appointments. We want them to feel a level 10 experience. So when they come into the dealership, if they don't get that level 10 experience, what ends up happening? The credibility goes down the drain. The reality is this. We're telling these customers to do 3 things. Bring your pay stub. Bring your driver's license, and bring a utility bill. Very, very important that you bring these 3 things with you, okay? It's very important. Now, once you bring them in, the manager's going to get the rest of the file. If that's not being reiterated on the outside, on your side of the dealership, what's going to happen? The credibility goes down. So the first thing I would do, if I was in your shoes, was this. Confirm every appointment. Even if you don't get a hold of the customer, leave a great message. Something like this. Hi, is Joe there? Or, Joe, this is Ken just giving you a call from over ABC Motors. Hey, I'm going through my notes for today. I see you're coming in at 5:45. Hey, listen, we appreciate you putting some time aside. We know how hectic it can be to buy a vehicle and so forth. And guess what? I'm going to make sure, as the manager of the store, I'm going to give you a level 10 experience. By the way, again, my name is Ken Kingstead. Make sure when you get down here, ask for me. I'll make sure you feel totally like family and have a level 10 experience. Wow. Stop. Don't you think the customer's going to say, wow, this is unbelievable. What the CDC department said is actually happening. They're actually making me feel comfortable. Wonderful. So guess what? They'll probably call you back, or they'll just show up and say, hey, I'm looking for Ken. Once they do, guess what we want to do? We want to do a reverse TO. Because usually this customer is going to be met by one of your salespeople on the floor out in the lot or something like this here. And they're going to say, I'm here to see Ken Kingstead. So they're going to come on in, and they're going to say, hey, I'm here to see Ken. And I'm going to go out, if I'm the manager in your store, and this is what you got to do if you want to close more sales, okay? Is they're going to say, I'm here to see Ken. Go out, okay? Shake their hand. Have them have a seat at the desk, at the salesperson's desk. We call this a reverse TO. Okay, so we're going to sit down at the salesman's desk, and we're going to find a few things out. Usually, the customer's expectation is really high. Okay, they want an SUV loaded with leather, low miles, yada yada yada. You know the customer. You see it every single day. Listen. This is how we're going to bring them into reality. Listen, I understand. Let me sit down with you for a few minutes. Let me ask you a question. I know you're just coming in and you're going through the process. Are you looking for something really specific, or are you looking for just good quality transportation to get yourself reestablished again? And they're going to look at you and go, well, I'm looking for an SUV loaded with leather and so on and so forth. And you come back and go, listen, I understand that. Not a problem at all. The reason I ask this question is because typically the more specific that you go in type of car, guess what? Usually that monthly investment goes up with it. If you're looking for something just good quality transportation to reestablish your credit and so forth, that monthly investment is going to drop down, way, way down here. So let me ask you again, are you looking for something really specific or just good quality transportation to reestablish yourself? What's the customer going to say? I'm looking for this one down here. Perfect. So what we did is we set the expectation in the customer's mind. We're off of that SUV. Listen, I tell you this, in my own stores, I find that 60% of our customers that didn't buy, I tell you what, they probably weren't landing on the perfect car to fit what they're hoping for. Now listen, with the subprime market, we got to make sure that we card the customer down on the lowest price vehicle that fits this customer's needs. Does that make sense? So we want to set that expectation really low. And then we can do a reverse TO back to the salesperson that actually met that customer on the lot and do what with them? Go out there and find them. Give them some guidance as the manager. Ken's going to give my salesperson now guidance after I get their information, what? Their license, their utility bill, and their most recent pay stub. I'm going to get that information. I'm going to pull it from the customer. I'm going to go get their information pulled for myself to understand who I'm dealing with here with the 5-liner and credit report and so on. And then I'm going to give my salesperson some really good insight on what? On what vehicle to show the customer. So instead of showing him what? Maybe that Land Cruiser out there, I might show him the PT Cruiser out there, if that makes sense. The bottom line is this, that's where the ball gets dropped. Usually what ends up happening, customer shows up and there isn't a level 10 experience. Quite frankly, they come in seeing Ken, and guess what happens? They never meet Ken. So what does the customer do? The credibility here has gone down already. Next thing you know, they're dealing with a salesperson who treats them like a 500 or 450 beacon score and basically cherry picks the customer. Doesn't do all the effort, doesn't do all the work. 100% demo. Even if the customer is a 450, we know they can't buy. The reality is this. In our own dealership, the reality is this. We sell probably 10 to 15 cars a month in each of our stores that do about 130, 140 cars a month. We sell about 10 to 15 every month on customers that would have never been able to buy. They fall in love with the car, and somehow they come up with the money, and the process changes, and we can deliver them a car. Listen. We want to maximize these leads. We spend too much money, month in and month out, not to maximize every possible lead. So the CDC is doing all this heavy lifting. They're making literally hundreds and hundreds of phone calls every single day. They're queuing you up with maybe 30 appointments a day. Guess what you're doing? If they're making let's say they're getting 10 or 15 per rep per day, they're giving you 30, let's say, leads that are coming in today. Your job is to call and confirm every one of them. At least leave a message that sounds positive and kind of says what the CDC is saying about the store and you. Then, when they show up, make sure they come and see you. Shake their hand. Sit them down. Do your expectation setting for them. Get their information. Get their credit pulled. Give some guidance to the sales rep in your reverse TO. And now, guess what happens? When you get involved in the middle of a sale and you got to close that deal, let me ask you this. Do you think your closing ratio is going to go up or down based on the relationship that you've established? My gosh, the CDC did a great job. You call and confirmed. They show up and you got a kiosk, their name, welcoming them there. You get involved and you get the information the CDC said that you're going to ask for. License, utility bill, right? And also their most recent pay stub. And you do your expectations. You give them some guidance and send them on the lot. They come back in after the demo ride and you do what? You get involved and you close the deal. Your closing ratio is going to go up phenomenally. This one step I just talked about here, I call it the baton. The baton that gets transferred from the CDC into the front end is dropped in 95% of all the stores out there. And that's why, I'll tell you this, that's why most BDCs/CDCs fail. It's a huge disconnect. The managers aren't really holding up their end of the bargain to make the deal come together. Now, trust me, I know you managers, you go in and close, but it's a cold close. These customers need to be treated a little differently. At least the perception is that it's different. Listen, I give you some good things to think about. I want you to review this again and again and again. Remember, I said 3 times. Do it 12 times. Think about what I said. Go through this 3 times and review it 12 times in your book. Again and again and again. And realize this, in the next 21 days, this is how we can go from 10% closing ratio up, in terms of our leads to 15% on our leads. And listen, I don't know what your closing ratio right now, your lead to sale rate is currently on your leads, but it's probably more like 3 to 4%. If you want to get to 10, 15% and higher, trust me, these are the little tweaks that we need to make it happen. Listen, guys, if you need help, give us a call. We'd love to help you any way we can. Otherwise, make it a great day today. Take care.